Hey everybody, and welcome back to Lindsay's Little Library. Somehow, in the last few months, I have acquired quite the stack of books. So I thought I'd jump on and do a quick little book haul. Not really sure how I got this many. I didn't think I was really buying that many books over the last month, but it happened, and that's okay. So, I have a few different places where I picked up these books from. First thing I'm going to start out with is I participated in a Secret Santa gift exchange this past Christmas through Instagram, and whoever had me did not fulfill their part of the bargain, so I sent an email in and let them know that I didn't receive anything, not expecting anything back, but I just wanted to make sure that whomever did have my name wasn't allowed to participate in the future, because that's the whole point of a Secret Santa exchange, is that you're relying on the other person to send a gift out, and they did not. So I was pleasantly surprised to find out that I had a Secret Santa angel that sent me a box in the mail not that long ago, and her name is Tessa. She is on Instagram, and she is at the Bookworms Library. I'll leave a link to her Instagram page below. It's awesome. Totally check that out. But she sent me the best box of goodies, and so of course, we start out with a box of coffee. I've got little wax melts she sent me, a bag of chocolate. She even hooked up my kids with some fruit roll-ups. And within the entire box, she had, each of the gifts were numbered in order, and then she had like little notes with each of them. So I have this whole stack of cute little notes that she put with them and why she picked what she did. I have Harry Potter page clips, little bookmarks. She made these super cute little bookmarks herself that are adorable, as well as sent me 4 pretty amazing looking books. So the first one is The Trader's Wife by Alison Pataki. It says The Woman Behind Benedict Arnold and the Plan to Betray America, which sounds amazing, so I'm totally into that. We have The Moor's Account by Lala Lamani. I believe this is a fantasy book. We have The Stranger in the Woods, The Extraordinary Story of the Last True Hermit by Michael Finkel, which sounds very interesting and looks pretty short, so that should go pretty quick. And then the last one is One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus, and this is, I think, a YA different take on kind of the Breakfast Club type thing, but sounds really good as well. So thank you so much. This totally made my day when I got this package in the mail, and I really wasn't expecting to get anything else, but I love it, and I cannot wait to read these books. So next up, I think I'm going to go through my book of the month purchases. I did re-sign up with them in December, and I've just been loving the books that they've been picking lately, so why not get a little better deal on it? So the first one that I got, I think this last month, I got 3 books. I picked up, of course, The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. I'm so excited for this to come out. I have truly loved Kristen Hanna's latest book. I think her newest one was The Nightingale, which is easily one of my top 3 books of all time. I'm really excited to read this. In fact, I've already started. Some friends of mine from my book club decided to do a buddy or a read along with this book, so we have it all pegged out over the next 4 weeks, I think. It's going to be tough for us to kind of space it out a little bit, but I think we'll enjoy it a little bit more. So this is about a family, the Albrights, who decide to pick up everything and go live off the grid in Alaska. The father came back from Vietnam. He was a prisoner of war there, and he's having some PTSD issues, it sounds like. And so they're trying to find their way. They're trying to figure out, how can we manage with this new man that came home from the war and find a happy place. The wife, Cora, is kind of just going along and doing what she can for her husband, and then there's the daughter, she's I believe 13, that goes along with it. So they move to Alaska, into a very small town. So far the town's really kind of welcoming them and helping them prepare for winter, but it sounds like once winter hits, there's going to be some big shakeup. So really excited, enjoying it so far. The next book I picked up from Book of the Month Club is The Broken Girls by Simon St. James. Sounds like this kind of takes place in two different time periods, I believe the 1950s and then current present day. This is about a orphanage or a home for troubled girls or girls that nobody really wants. So it centers around this home in the 1950s, and there's 4 girls that are there. They have a really great friendship, and then one of them mysteriously disappears. There are rumors that this place is haunted, so I'm loving that whole paranormal aspect of it. And so then we come to present day, and there's a journalist, Fiona. Her sister mysteriously disappeared at one point in time, and she's somehow brought into this institution. What is it called? Idlewild Hall, and she kind of starts investigating her older sister's death and how that is connected. I'm assuming it's connected. I'm hoping there's some good ghost stories in here. It sounds really great. The next book I picked up is The Philosopher's Flight by Tom Miller. This is about an 18-year-old boy named Robert, and he seems to have some sort of magical abilities that normally only women have. And so he's starting to kind of learn how to use those abilities. I believe he even goes to a school to learn more about it, or kind of discover more about himself. I'm not entirely sure, but I didn't have to read much about what the book was about before I'm like, yep, sign me up, I want to read that book. So that was the next one. The next 3 books I picked up in January from Book of the Month Club. The first one I grabbed was The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. This is about a woman who lives, her name's Anna. She lives in her own apartment in New York, never really leaves, completely confined to her space. She watches old movies, she's perfectly content where she is, and she spies on her neighbors. She notices a new family move in, and she kind of keeps an eye on them until she sees something she really shouldn't, and then everything gets shaken up. So can't wait to read that one. The next one I grabbed is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. Don't know a whole lot about it other than everyone on BookTube seems to love this book. Sounds like Eleanor's a little bit of an odd duck. We kind of go through life understanding where she is, what she's going through, learning a little bit more about her. That's about all I know, but I've heard it's really, really great. The last book I picked up from there is Two Girls Down by Louisa Luna. This is about 2 young girls who go missing in a shopping mall, and a bounty hunter is actually hired to track them down. She will go through anything that she needs to do. She teams up with an ex-cop. It sounds like there's some interesting characters she works around with to get these girls back. So again, sounds really great. The next couple of books I picked up from a book sale that one of the elementary schools in my city was having, and I didn't really expect to find much, but I found a couple and grabbed them. First one I have is What She Left Behind by Ellen Marie Wiseman. Ellen Marie Wiseman wrote the book that I just read not that long ago called The Life She Was Given. It was about a little girl and she was sold to the circus. Fabulous, fabulous book. I loved it, so I don't even care what this is about. I want to try to read other books by her. And then the other book I picked up is A Million Junes by Emily Henry. Again, this was a previous Book of the Month pick, but when I saw it and I'm filling up a bag and I paid probably a quarter or 50 cents for this, I'm like all over it. I don't know a whole lot about it other than I've heard a lot of people liking it, so I grabbed that book as well. The next couple books I picked up in a book outlet order that I placed recently because I filled up my cart and it was over 35 bucks, so why not just buy it, right? First one I grabbed is First Frost by Sarah Addison Allen. I've heard a lot of great things about this author, and so I wanted to give her a shot. This follows a family who opens up a candy business in North Carolina. It sounds like that each of the women in the story is struggling with something. It just sounded like a really good feel-good book to read. And next one is Castle of Water by Dane Huckelbridge. This one is about 2 strangers who are on a chartered flight and the plane goes down and they're now stranded on an island. Kind of gives me a Castaway feel or something similar to that, but again, sounded really interesting. The next book I picked up, or I was actually sent from a first look impression that I wrote on bookishfirst.com. I think I've talked about this website a couple of times on my channel, but it's a really great opportunity to take a look and get a sneak peek of some new books that are coming out. Give your first impressions of what you thought of maybe the cover of the book, the first couple of chapters. Would you read the book, would you not? And in some cases they will send you a free copy. So I got a copy of Mr. Tender's Girl by Carter Wilson. This is a psychological thriller that follows a 14-year-old girl named Alice who was attacked by 2 classmates in her school. They attacked her based upon a kind of doing a job for Mr. Tender. Mr. Tender doesn't exist. This kind of hits close to home. in the state that I live in Wisconsin, and there are a couple of teenagers in Milwaukee who stabbed one of their classmates for the Slender Man. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but this kind of sounds very similar to what happened, so it's kind of eerie that I know of a story that's similar to this, so I'm really interested in seeing what this book has to say. And then the last few books I picked up, actually I didn't pick up, they were my Valentine's Day gift this year. So my husband is super, super sweet and realizes that I love chocolate, but I don't need chocolate. And he's not a huge fan of buying flowers on Valentine's Day because, well, they're gonna die anyways. And so he took us to Barnes & Noble as our Valentine's Day present. So each of the kids got to pick out a couple of books, and then I got to get a couple of books. And in all honesty, that is like the best Valentine's Day ever. I mean, I'm sure you agree with me. So the first one I picked up is Friends and Other Liars by Kayla Coble. This, I've already read the first chapter, and it sounds really, really good. So this centers around a man named Danny, and he has passed away. So he's kind of speaking about his funeral and how his group of friends have come back for his funeral, and he's basically calling them all out that this is all just a show and that there's a whole bunch of secrets left, and he's left letters behind for them that's going to reveal kind of all of the craziness that has happened within this group of friends. So it sounds really, really interesting. Plus I believe Goodreads had some pretty good reviews for it, so I picked that one up. So the next book I picked up off of their bargain bin, so it was only $6, and it is Choose the Wrong Guy, Gave Him the Wrong Finger by Beth Harbison. I know I've heard about this book before. It's about a woman named Quinn who's about to get married, and basically right on her wedding day or right before her wedding day, she decides to run off with the groom's brother. That doesn't necessarily work out, so she ends up basically by herself, and both of these brothers come back to town, and you go from there. So it sounded like a good light beachy read for my upcoming vacation, so we're gonna go with that. And then the last one I picked up I've actually wanted for a while. I've been keeping my eye out for it, and I'm just like, I gotta go for it. It's Before We Were Yours by Lisa Wingate. Lisa Wingate took a true story. So back in the 1930s, 1940s, there were these orphanages who would actually kidnap babies, take them and sell them to well-off or richer families. And there was a, what was his name? Georgia Tan, and the Memphis, Tennessee Children's Home Society actually existed. They actually did this. They were caught. They were, I believe, prosecuted, jailed. I don't know what exactly happened to the person, but this is a story based upon those true events. I love historical fiction books that take true historical events and kind of put their own spin on it and tell me a little bit more about it. So this follows two girls who I'm guessing were stolen and then sold, and so you have that perspective from the 1930s, and then you get a perspective of present day of a girl, and she figures out some secrets in her family. So I'm assuming they're tied together, but we'll find out. Sounds really, really good. So I picked that book up as well. Probably another vacation book for me. So that's about it. It's a pretty good pile of books considering I didn't really think I bought any books the last few months. I don't know how that happens, but let me know if it ever happens to you. If there's any of these books that you've read and you want to recommend to me, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.